here's the thing. This is what I actually think about it. I don't have any sense of... well, I sort of... Anyways. Hi, and welcome to my podcast. I am Naomi, and this is NJ Knits, where I talk about my knitting and other things that I'm working on craft-wise, if that ever comes up. It probably will. So this is a knitting podcast. Generally goes like this. I talk about some finished things, I talk about some things I'm working on, talk about some things I want to work on, and then I talk about some things I may or may not have acquired. So this is a new place. This is actually my boat. This is where I live when I'm not living elsewhere. So I'm here for a short little 3-day extravaganza of being at home, and then I'm off again to work. There's a walkway behind me, so I live on a boat in the Thames, and so obviously people like to walk along the Thames, and so you'll see people's heads just like passing by. May distract you, it may distract me. Let's all go on this journey together. It should be fun. I have a lot of houseplants as well, which may feature. So let's get tucked in. I don't know, I feel a bit more performy today. Maybe it's because there's like a square behind me and I feel like I'm in a TV or something, which I may or may not actually be. So I'll start with my finished object. Well, this is not a finished object. Well, this is a finished object, but it's finished a long time ago. A few years ago, I want to say maybe 3. 2018. Does that make it 3? Yeah, I think I'd say about 3 if I was making a guess. I'm terrible with time. So I'll show it off for you. Here it is. Always fun and awkward with me when I'm showing things off. Check that out. Nice one, Naomi. So this, talk about not starting the round at the underarm, guys, am I right? Wait, where did it go? I lost it. Oh, there it is, right there. Very obvious. Must have done it over here though. Oh no, it's back here. So this was my very first self-drafted jumper. I used the Stitch and Bitch Nation book, which I don't even know when I got. I must have got, I literally don't remember when I got it, why I got it. I must have got it in like I must have got it years and years and years ago, like 10 years ago or something. But I was randomly like home for a visit, and I saw this book, and I thought, oh, I can make a jumper from it, because it basically explains how to make a jumper, how to like plan your own jumper based on your measurements. And I think it's the second book after Stitch and Bitch came out. It was like Stitch and Bitch Nation, and it gave you more details about how to like make a pattern. So this was some wool that I got from a like sale bin in Berlin on holiday. And I just liked the colours and I liked how it felt, and back then I didn't know anything about wool. I just knew like, oh, this is wool and it's really cheap. I think it was like €2 a ball. So I got like, I think it was 6 balls of it I got, and it must have been 50-gram balls. Maybe 8. And I cannot remember what the wool was, but I do know it was a superwash merino, because I can tell now by the feel that it's superwash. And I made it and it fit well, and then once I washed it and wore it a couple times, 2 reasons I can tell it's superwash. One, it's got that kind of silky feel, like, not silky, slidey. Silk isn't as slidey as non-silk. So for me, when I feel silk, there's a little bit of toothiness to it. It feels like it's going to stop your fingers from sliding across it. It does feel amazing and phenomenal, but it has like some toothiness. I would call it toothiness, like something is stopping your fingers from just sliding across it. So then That's silk as the fiber. But then when you say silky, what I mean is like your fingers slide across it really quickly. So it's weird that the fiber feels opposite to how the like adjective is describing it. But anyways, the point is, for me, superwash feels like my fingers slide across it really well, like it's like almost a little piece of like slippery plastic, or like not plastic, but something slidey, like a well oiled kitchen side, or like a marble countertop, or just like wee. So it's slick almost feeling, slidey. The other reason I can kind of tell it's superwash is, to me, superwash tends to be heavier per square meter of fabric, square inch of fabric, than non-superwash. And that's probably, I'd be interested to know if that's actually true. I bet it's not actually true. What is actually true is that woolen spun wool versus worsted spun wool. Worsted spun is heavier per like square inch than woolen spun, because worsted spun will have more fibers per square inch than woolen spun will. Woolen spun has more air in it. Woolen spun is like the marshmallow of yarn, and worsted spun is like the licorice of yarn. It's like there's a lot of, or taffy. Worsted spun is like taffy. There's like a lot of stuff in there. And then woolen spun is marshmallow. There's a lot of air in there. So woolen spun feels lighter, and it's also warmer because air is where all of your body heat sits in the airy spaces. And when you have lots of airy spaces, you're very warm. And when you have less airy spaces, your body heat doesn't have much space to sit and continue to warm you, if that makes any sense. Like, if you have a puffer jacket that's like less puffy, it's less warm. If it's more puffy, it's more warm. That's why people try to tell you to keep your puffer jackets expanded, because if you keep them compressed, they'll eventually lose their puff. And the puff is what makes it warm. It's like a mini tiny little heater where your warm air just sits. Because you create all the warm air. It's just a question of whether or not you keep it around you, or whether it goes away. I don't know why I'm rambling so long about this, but it is wool related. Anyways, the point is, I'm probably wrong that superwash is heavier than non-superwash, sorry. There really isn't a normal. I try to avoid saying normal, because what is normal? Anyways, also normal, I think in our society, normal creates judgment, because it means that everything that is not under the whatever category you're claiming to be normal, everything else outside of that is non-normal, which I think creates some sort of judgment as a general rule. Maybe not, but anyway, it's kind of unnecessary to call things normal, because they kind of aren't. So, superwash wool is probably not actually heavier than non-superwash wool, but it kind of feels to me like it is. Anyway, this is superwash, and my point about it being superwash is that it was my first experience of superwash growing. So it's much longer than I knit it. It has grown, which superwash is wont to do, I have since learned. And there's a little bit of pilling on it. I never really pay any attention to pilling. It's probably because I just don't. And as you can tell, I made it sort of color blocked because I didn't have enough yarn. So the classic Naomi yarn chicken happened here. I did kind of plan for it to be like sleeves in this color, front in this color, back in this color. But I did kind of want the collar to be the same color as the front, but I did not have enough yarn for that. Also, I didn't actually have enough of this yarn to make the rest of the sleeves, as you can see, because these are set-in sleeves. And I knit this in pieces. So I did the front piece, which was like a little tank top. I did the back piece, which was like basically the same, except a bit longer. for this like split hem situation, which I now don't really like. Because the problem with split hems is you can't reverse the jumper. It just looks silly. I like being able to reverse a jumper, especially one like this, which is different colors. Because then I could have a jumper that had the same color as the front. It would be like a totally different jumper, guys. But, I mean, this just looks weird. So, you know, maybe I could actually take this out and graft this on so it's like this. It's actually a fair point, Naomi. However, I do think this is going to get gifted. I know I made it a long time ago, but I think it is. The problem is it's very bulky. It's too big for me. And mostly just that. I don't know though. Maybe if I gift it, maybe I will do this because I think it will make the jumper more versatile. I don't think anyone well, I don't know. I don't know how big of a thing it now is to have like that longer at the back than the front. Well, it is a big thing, but I think, here's the thing. This is what I actually think about it. I don't have any sense of, well, I sort of, anyways. I always like stop myself and it's very confusing to people who are trying to listen because I'm like stopping myself. Too many tabs on the brain are open. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, I was going to say something like, oh, it's not fashionable anymore to have the longer back than the front. That's not true. It's definitely a thing. People are doing it. They're rocking it. It's looking great. I think the thing is that with this kind of a jumper, I think that looks cool with a more boho-y kind of a situation. I think with this kind of a jumper, this jumper is saying like 90s skater / sporty / like, I don't know. It's not saying boho is what I'm saying. It's not screaming boho to me. So I think that the longer back just isn't working with it. So actually, maybe that's a great idea. I still think I'll gift it, but I think that might be really cool. Seeing as I actually do enjoy grafting, I might as well, right? It's not difficult to take something out and rip it back and then graft it together, because even with something like this where I don't have extra wool, I have when you're taking fabric out, you have extra wool from the taking of the fabric out. So maybe I'll make a video of that when I do it. I'll probably do it in Prague, and then I will maybe gift it, because I actually quite like it this way around. I find that because of the way that the neck shape is, with the collar is nice. I like this, like the way the collar is, but I find that the way the neck shape is, it looks fine here because you don't really notice, but on the back, and from the back it looks okay, but when you flip it around in the front, the issue I have is that I also at first didn't enjoy, but now kind of enjoy that it looks like I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt under a t-shirt with this jumper, which is kind of fun. Well, that doesn't look horrendous. It's nice. The issue I have with this collar is the shape of the neckline and the fact that there's so much weight, it kind of pulls it this way. It kind of looks like I'm like wearing a scarf like in the 1950s, and it's like just sort of like, you know, when they wore a scarf and they just put it behind them, they didn't like wrap it around their neck, they just like a little silk scarf. Every time I see myself in the mirror, I just feel like that. And with this hair, the 70s vibe is really strong with these colors. So I don't know. I'm not in love with it. But this is my problem. Like, if the collar was sat like this, without this like dangly bit, I would quite like it. It would be a bit of a, it would be much more of a 70s vibe, and I would be kind of into it. Like that, you know? But because it sort of pulls it sideways, like, I just don't like that. Anyway. But that problem goes away when you wear it the other way around. So grafting is the solution, and then finding someone with longer arms who would like this jumper is the second solution. But I thought I'd wear it before it goes bye-bye. I have some finished objects to show you, as I've rambled far too long already. I'm going to show you a few finished objects I made a while ago. This is a bag. I think I got this bag in Jordan when I was working there. Very cool. I think so. I think it was almost like I just got it because I bought a bunch of like gifts for people and then I needed something to carry them in. Really, really beautiful like artwork. Like the traditional like crafts in Jordan are really beautiful, like the fabrics and the embroidery and things. So this is a load of things I made for my friend who has the bubbas, but I made them over lockdown and didn't have them with me in Canada when I gave the other load of things for the bubbas. So this will be their like Christmas stuff maybe. This is a baby bohem jumper that I made out of scrap sock yarn. So this one was a colorway with like purple and white and green, and then this was a colorway with just like different types of orange, and then this was a colorway that was mostly just marled gray, and then this was a colorway that was like blues and greens. So it's a bit of a cluster, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, for a baby, the baby's actually like incredibly ginger, so actually this will be quite cute on him. Nice and light, little sock yarn jumper. I'm really happy with it. I want to make another one for sure because it was super cute. It was my first ever yoked jumper actually, and I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with yokes now, and proceeded to not make anything else with the yoke, but I was obsessed with it in my mind. This is for Bubba's older sister. When I made this for her, she was 2. This pattern is called the baby bohem. I put the links to everything that I talk about below in the description, and I'll also just like flash the name of it on the screen. This is called the DK Entrechat, which is a ballet move. So it's kind of a little ballet bolero situation with a little bit of a ruffle. It's got a little bit of a slipped stitch pattern here and a ruffle situation. I mean, what's not to love here? Nothing. That's what's not to love. The one thing that's funny is I made this for a 2-year-old. Granted, like, she's a pretty big 2-year-old, but I had my friend's child try it on who is 10, and it fit her fine. So this baby jumper was meant for a newborn. This was like, newborn baby, welcome to the world, here's your jumper. But thankfully COVID happened and it didn't get to him, and now he's going to be probably almost nearing on 2 when he gets this, so it'll be great. I generally just really am not obstructed by baby fitting perfection in my life because they're just gonna grow. This is soft and squishy. I believe I got this in Norway. I believe it is Viking yarn. I got it in a charity shop for €1 or £1 or whatever. I just thought cute, soft, and I made this little gorgeous little bolero out of it, so I was very pleased with the situation. One skein little guy. It was really a fun pattern to make, actually. If you're looking for a little cute little girl knit, check this one out because it is very, very fun. I really enjoyed it. I can't quite describe to you exactly what I did, but it was fun. And then I had a little bit extra, so I made this little headband to go with it. I used the same slip stitch pattern from the bolero, and then I just did like a garter ridge, and honestly I just did a random number of stitches. I don't even know how many stitches I did. Like, I don't know where I got the number of stitches. Now I have a book that would probably tell me how many stitches to do for a certain age size of child, but the time I just went on a random one. I don't know why this is twisted, when I made this, I crocheted this little flower, and I think I just kept going until I ran out of yarn, because it was just like crochet chains that I like hooked in, and then kept going and going, and I think I might have made it like, no, I must have done it attached to afterwards, but it's twisted where I attached it, so I might have accidentally twisted my stitches when I joined in the round and just made a Moebius strip, and then just went, well, whatever, I'll just twist it when I attach the flower. So this is me not being obstructed by any level of perfection, not even vague perfection, or even like you know, decent level of goodness. Not obstructed by that either. I just keep on keeping on. So that was that for Bubba's little older sister. This is such a cool thing. So I need to find the videos that I was obsessed with, because this is where I saw this. It's so cool. It's a probably like the first ever knitting podcaster. And I can't remember her name, but I will find it. She was talking about these, and I was just like watching all of her videos, and I was like, this is amazing. I found it. Do you know how I found it? This jumper actually brings me into this story. So I had knit this jumper, like I said, like 3 years ago, and then lockdown happened, and I was going through my like whips, and I was like, I need to just sew this, I need to seam this together. But I was so proud of it, because I had like drafted it myself, and I knitted it, and it was this beautiful yarn. It was so soft and lovely, and I was like, I just don't want to mess it up with the seaming, and I always do, because I'm, again, not obstructed by perfection, so I just get it done, and then it just looks terrible, and then it's like, oh, why did I just do that? I just made something that I worked hard on and looks wonderful, now look terrible. Well, I went to the YouTube, which is something I never do, and I mean, look at that seaming right there, guys. And I found this woman who does these videos. I mean, that is some tremendously nice seaming. That was the other thing, is I knew, because it's colored blocked, it's gonna look terrible if it's done terribly, because I won't, you know, it'll be very obvious, especially here. Found this video, learned how to do mattress stitch, game changer. I was trying to do chef's kiss, but kind of looked like I was like taking a drag on some kind of drug item. Watched her videos, then got obsessed watching her videos, and I would just sit and watch her videos and learn things, because they were mostly instructional videos. They weren't podcast videos. But then I was like, oh, I just want to watch people talking about knitting, and I didn't know about knitting podcasts. And this was during lockdown. I was like, I just want some knitting friends. I don't know anybody who knits. I just want to sit and like listen to people talking about knitting. But one of the things she was talking about were these things. And I was like, I need to make this. And as you can see, the same yarn. This is leftovers of that bluey greeny. This is the orangey one. This is the purpley one. And it is so fun to make. If you want a knitting adventure, knit venture, make one of these things. It's so much fun. It's a little child's toy. It's so soft. It's like they can like mess around with it, and it's not gonna hurt them. They're not gonna get their fingers stuck in it, because it's just soft and like loose. So you just knit strips of fabric. They're just plain strips of fabric, and she did it on the knitting machine because it just takes 2 seconds, but I just knit it while I was going for my daily walk during lockdown, on like double pointed needles, because it was easier to just go back and forth on something so small. And you just knit a little strip, and then you graft it together to make a circle. Now, why, you say, don't you just do it in the round? Because, my friends, you have to graft it, because you're gonna, like, the next one you make, so you knit 2, which you could technically do in the round, because they're just circles. And then you knit another 2, and you go and you sort of weave. So I knit these orange ones, say, and then I knit the purple and green ones, and I weave them up and over. And then I go around, and then I go up and over and under. And then I go over, under. And then the second one would be like under, over. And then that would be the opposite, basically. So imagine these blue ones aren't there. So then I would have just made this, and then there would be this like open space here, and then I would have made this, and then there's an open space here. And then I knit the two blue bits, and then I weave those blue bits in with the orange bits, over, under, and then the purple bits, over, under, and then I graft. So you have to graft once it's all woven properly. So it's a little bit fun. It's like, whoa, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Did I do it? Did I do it? Now graft. And you have to keep it like in the right place while you graft it together. And then the last one is the trickiest one, faux show. You got to keep, like, you got to know where you are, like which corner are you on. And then, yeah, and then graft it together. And then, because obviously when you're grafting, you're kind of like pull it and you're like doing it like this. And so then when you kind of finish, you're like, okay, it was right when I started grafting. Has it changed? Is it now totally ridiculous? And then you kind of pull it apart and you're like, I did it! It's done! And I think, like, you probably could, like, fill this with something to make it, like, hard. But it's quite nice that it's squishy and just, like, it's very tactile. It's a very tactile toy. And, you know, very great for babies, I think. So I'm super excited to give this to little Bubba. I think he'll still be young enough to play with it. I mean, I like playing with it, so who's not gonna like playing with it? Also, it matches his jumper, so that's so cool. You've got a matching toy to your jumper, Bubba. Who can say that? Then I have a, this was my first ever double brioche, two-color brioche, and it is a cowl. And I can't remember what the name of this cowl is. I will say that I had trouble starting this off. And it was possibly because I didn't know how to two-color brioche. But, you know, the setup row for two-color brioche is like a thing. And I'm currently doing a test knit in two-color brioche, and the setup row is explained very well. And again, this may be me saying that because I've done it before, so I was like, okay. But I don't think it is. I think this pattern could have had a better explanation of how to set up two-color brioche at the beginning. It kind of just was like, get started, and then do this. And I was like, what? How do I... That's not accurate, obviously. I don't really remember. It's been a little while. This is it. It's kind of like a leafy pattern. It's really cool. I did it in... I can't remember, but a bulky weight yarn that I got in Prague. And this is it. I made a few cowls, and I made this one. I'm not actually really that much of a fan of cowls, personally. Nor am I that much of a fan of scarves, to be fair. Nor am I much of a fan of shawls. I'd say if I liked anything the most, it would probably be cowls. But really, I just prefer to have a jumper with a nice big collar on it. Because more stuff, it's more stuff. And especially scarves, it's just like... Sometimes, don't get me wrong, I do wear scarves sometimes. I do like them, especially like a shorter one, like a sort of a man's length scarf, where it's a bit shorter and you can just kind of cross it over your chest under your jacket. That's wonderful, because it's a little layer that's not like having a like gilet on under your jacket, but it just provides a good amount of extra warmth. But I just find the like long, big, chunky, giant scarves, it just makes me feel like... That was quite a gross noise, I'm sorry. Anyway, this is really cute. I made it for the baby's mum. And I thought I had something in here for the baby's dad, but I do not. So dads quite often get the short end of the knitting stick, don't they? Anyways, Never mind. So that was some finished objects. They're gonna go away at some point. I might just post them because they've been sitting around in this tiny boat way too long and I need to get rid of some stuff. Then I'll show you what else do I have finished object wise. I have one other finished object, and this is for another child. I've already shown them to you. They're not that exciting. They're my child's socks. They are finished now. I did kind of a child's version. I did a sort of an odd version of a round toe. So I did the round toe. I think I started with 4 instead of 6 or 5 stitches. And then, but then I stopped the round toe. Normally with a round toe, well, not normally, but the setup for unofficial round toe is that you do like 6 stitches, decrease, 6 stitches, decrease, 6 stitches, decrease. So you do a load more decreases than you would do for a wedge toe, and then you do 6 rounds of no decreases, and then you do 5 stitches decrease, 5 stitches decrease, 5 rounds of no decreases, 4 stitches, and it just creates kind of like a similar shape really to the wedge toe, but it's slightly more round and less like diagonal in shape. But normally what officially the way that you do a round toe is you would go until there's like 2 or 3 stitches and you just pull it tight like the top of a hat might be done. But I really like grafting, like I've already said, so, and I also don't like it when sock toes go to like a very small width, because like, I don't know, I just find that it's not relevant to most feet. Like most feet don't end on like a point. So so I just stop the round toe when it's like about, for this I think it was 8 stitches, but for like an adult I'll stop at like 10 and just graft, and then it kind of creates this shape. This maybe was too many. Maybe I could have gone a little bit longer, but that's how I do it. And then I did a fish lips kiss heel, which I've already talked about. So they are all finished, ends woven in. Yes, the toe is ever so slightly longer on this foot. Never mind. Didn't have the sock when I was walking around and finishing the toe. I didn't have the other sock to compare it to, and I just thought, you know what, it's fine. Sometimes people's feet are different lengths, so if you work really, really hard to make them exactly identical and then someone's feet are different lengths, like, it's the same outcome as if I worked less hard and created them different lengths and then someone's feet are the same length. That was really weird. Okay, so another thing that I'm working on is a test knit for Iris from H Iris Makes, who recently had the coffee shop cardigan, coffee talk cardigan or coffee shop cardigan come out, and the coffee shop top. Super cute. So this is going to be the candy shop hat. And this is 2-color brioche, as you can see. I've done this, so this I was doing this on the plane over to Prague, and I did it, I undid what I had, did it again. I tried to ladder down to fix a mistake I had made in 2-color brioche. I don't know how to ladder down in 2-color brioche and then like remake it. I thought, well, I'll give it a try, see how it goes. It didn't work, so I had to undo the whole thing. I had about maybe this much of the hat made. And so, okay, definitely don't know how to do that. Might need to like watch some videos on that. It's my avocado dyed yarn plus the leftover white yarn with the mohair from my Wednesday sweater held double. because it's bulky weight. My gauge is really off, so like it goes around my head without any stretch whatsoever. So maybe once there's a second layer, but I know that brioche grows, and this is superwash, so I know it will grow. So I'm a little concerned, and I'm thinking I'm gonna start over and ask if I can make a smaller size, because I did go down a needle size after the first one where the gauge was off, and then I redid it just because my own mistake and trying to ladder down and that not working, and then I did it again just with the same needle, and it's still far too big. So I'm gonna see what I do about that. So that's something that's not a lot to show for that, but I do have a hoe. My Pescatarian socks. I was like, you know what I really feel like doing? Just making a sock. Just making a normal sock. And I'm loving this yarn, so you know what? Why hinder myself in this quest to make a normal sock and be loving this yarn? So I just stopped the pattern and made a normal sock the rest of the way down. And to be fair, it was the best place to do it because I just finished the heel flap. So I could decrease to the actual amount of stitches I needed for a sock. This sock has like 72 stitch cast on for a small size because of the Bavarian twisted stitches, which makes it come in a lot. So you can see it's like super tight here, and then once it's like normal stitches, it's like, whoa, that's a lot of suck. So it's a long gusset here, but it's so nice. It's really lovely, super comfy, and I finished it in like almost a day because I wasn't doing all those twisted stitches. So this is like the one-time knitters stretch, right? When they're showing off their socks. It's not true. I stretch every day. So yeah, these are my lovely socks. Very pleased with them. And the other thing is, like, you know what? It's great to have a beautiful pattern on your foot, but you know, it's less frequently seen than a great pattern here. So unless you're always wearing sandals, in which case the frequency is the same. Unless you're wearing sandals with long trousers, in which case the frequency is more here than here. So actually, I can only speak for myself. As someone who wears sandals not quite as frequently. Anyway, this is, again, copied. I like the decrease. So this is a modified wedge toe, which I copied from the Wool and the Gang crazy magic sock wool. It's similar to the wedge toe, but it has an element of, it's just a different ratio of decreases, and it's not always the same, and I just like it. It makes it rounder instead of straight like that, and I really enjoy that. And with this one I stopped at 10 and grafted with 10 stitches here, which I really enjoy. This Eye of the Partridge heel, lovely, love it. This is why I just don't love the shape of a gusset sock. And it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter in any way because the shape looks fantastic once it's on your foot. Just like looking at it, I just don't love that. It's okay. Perfectly fine. Do love knitting them. So, folks, the question is, how long is it going to take me to do this on the second sock? Because here I am. I have my second sock for you. I've done the cuff, and I've just, oh no, dropped some stitches. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. Well, let me just quickly fix this. I'm sorry. I've got two sets of, I think they're both knit rows, yeah. A little top tip for you, if you're trying to read your knitting, always pull it. I was teaching someone to knit, and I was like, okay, you got to read your knitting. What is it? What is it saying? What have you just done? And it was always like, I don't know, I can't tell. And then it's like, pull it, and it's like, oh, it's a knit. Oh, that's obvious. Great. Top tip. I'm sure you know that. Well, top tip if you're gonna teach friends. Like, that's a little thing that you might have not realized, like that's what you do. It's sometimes easy to like forget what you do like naturally when you're teaching someone. Anyways, need to weave in my end. I'm about to do that actually, but the train stopped. I was just about to do it. I go till the cuff. I've stopped like knitting together because it is like a thing. It makes this like a little part of your cuff like double fat, which okay, fine. That could be better, and it's not that much more effort to just weave in the end. But I do weave them in when I finish the cuff, and I have all the like pearly bits to go down and up, because I just cannot stand the ends just sitting there. It's Is it a perfectionism thing? I don't think it is. I think it's just, it annoys me. It just irritates me. I don't like it. I don't like extra stuff around me. I was talking about scarves. I just don't like the extra stuff. I'm currently like trying to get rid of some stuff. I have a couple bags. Don't tell my partner. She's always like, what? You need that. You might want that. In the most loving of ways. And problem is I'm like that too. I'm like, I might need that. I might want that. If someone else is doing that, that's just enabling me, which is actually really sweet and lovely, because it's nice to be enabled, isn't it? But at the same time, I do have this thing where I'm like, there's too much stuff around me, I need it gone! And so I need to sometimes just secretly just get rid of stuff. My second whip is another test knit, and it is the Minerva Tea, which is fabulous. I'm using my ice yarn, all that extra ice yarn that I have. And what are those? Oh, they're just geese. Another swans. Wow. So we get swans on the Thames. But I just saw a flock of 6 of them flying, and I was like, those are huge birds flying. What are they? And it was just swans. But normally you just don't normally see swans flying, especially not in like big groups like that. Anyway. So this is the Minerva Tea, and I was thinking to myself, oh my god, this looks huge. But then I tried it on, aka did this, and I was like, oh no, it's not that big. And this is just the like opening. I think the collar is gonna go on after. So I don't know why I thought it was so huge. You know what? Maybe that's the problem with my stupid Gibson ruffle blouse. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good size. It won't even go over my head. And I look at this and I'm like, this is huge! And then I'm like, oh, it's a perfectly reasonable size. So it's a fabulous pattern. So far I'm really loving it. It's got this beautiful lace situation going down the sleeves of the tee. And then it's going to have some color work. So overall, a very exciting situation. I have gone down a needle size, but that's typical for me because I am quite a loose knitter. I think there's something about like the fact that I knit and walk a lot that I'm quite loose. I don't know if it's like because I need it to be loose to be able to like feel what's going on, I guess. I don't know if that's accurate. I just think I like knitting loosely. I just enjoy it more than knitting tightly. I think it makes it easier for me to like move the stitches forward, because a lot of what makes it easy for me to knit without looking is this left hand. It's like all of the stuff that this left hand does, where it's like feeling the next stitch, getting it ready, feeling that it's been knit, kind of like here I can feel that it's been knit, and then carrying on. Like that's what makes it easy for me to like knit and walk, is that. And I think it would be harder to do. Also, I use my finger to slide the stitches up, which with Chowgoos is a little bit on the pointy side, but I love the points. They're so good. after having been knitting with Knit Pros for a long time, and before that I was knitting with like random Chinese Amazon circular needles. And then I had clovers. I do have a set of clovers that I won, which was amazing. Never won anything in my life. Won a set of circular knitting needles. Best day ever. I also was learning to spin. Great day. Really great day. That was a long time ago. I still have some of them, but the ones you get on Amazon, those tubes just come off like mid first project you're using it, I find. Wow, today is super rambly, guys. Girls, folks, humans, beautiful people. I tried a new thing with weaving in my end as I go, where instead of just knitting it with the stitches for the first like row and having this first bit be fat, I knit it with a new stitch on each row as I went along. I think it's pretty easy to tell I did that. But maybe once I block it, it'll kind of go away a little bit. Just experimenting with different ways of being lazy about weaving in my ends. Problem is, I had that thing with the other top that I made where I wove in my end in such a way that I thought was the appropriate way, the way that non-lazy people do it, and it was really obvious. And I was like, oh, well, this is why I don't like to call things like correct and incorrect, because it's all just whatever it is. I'm going to show you one languishing whip, and I think, aside from my Gibson ruffle blouse, I think it might be my only languishing whip. This is what you say when you find out like 3 or 4 other languishing whips, but it's semi-languishing. This is a blanket. Look at that. That is a big old blanket. I'm sad because I'm like halfway through a row right now, so I can't show you the actual length of the blanket. But it's sort of that to that to that. So I tried to make it a long... I tried to make it the correct length that I wanted it, so that all I'm doing is making the width. I'm knitting the width of the blanket. But I don't know, it might actually be just the width and I'm making the length. I'm not sure. It's very heavy. It's very lovely. All I'm doing is seed stitch, knit 1, purl 1, and then purl 1, knit 1, and then knit 1, purl 1, and then purl 1, knit 1. I do this a lot when I'm on work meetings, but this is wool I got in Lithuania when I was working there, and it is wool that I got, it's merino wool, and I got just really nice combed roving, and I got a kilo of each color. So I got 4 kilos of this wool, and it's it was 19 euros a kilo. Like, oh my god. I also got a whole like couple of kilos of black to make a jumper for my partner, which I have yet to spin. So I just spin it, and it's bulky. So I spin 2 sort of like, I spin it randomly. So sometimes I mix the colors as I go. Sometimes I just do one color then another color. I'll show you my spinning wheel maybe another time, because this is already quite busy. Sorry. I can hear the gate of the pier, so I'm always like, who is it? What's happening? What's going on? So yeah, it is intentionally completely random. You can see that the thickness of the spinning is totally different sometimes. Sometimes the thickness, like the tension of my knitting is probably different. But probably it's also a lot to do with the thickness of the wool. Intentionally super random, really thick, nice cozy blanket. It's a very heavy blanket, which is quite nice in the winter, just to have something heavy on top of you. And I think it'll be really nice on the bed in the winter time. That was the original intention. And I think it'll be good. But it's still definitely in the making. I don't have any balls to knit with at the moment, so I have to wait until I've finished spinning some. So yeah, that's kind of what I do, is I just like spin and then knit some, spin some, knit some, spin some, knit some. And that is how that works. Oh, I do have a ball. So I have one ball, and then I have another on the wheel that's not finished yet. So here's one ball of singles. You can see it just changes colors. Sometimes it's like the same color, sometimes it's one. Sometimes I go quite thin, sometimes I'm thicker. The project is definitely intended as like a quantity, not quality sort of thing. Like, it's just kind of like just doing a lot of spinning. I did enjoy recently doing some spinning that was more like I'm trying to actually achieve a specific thing. And I might show you some of that at a later date, because I really enjoy that. And I'm actually, it's funny because this project has taken so long that I'm kind of bored with doing the like random shitty spinning. I want to like go back to doing more like intentional spinning where I'm like specifically getting a certain result. But I kind of feel like if I start doing that, this blanket is gonna like kind of change halfway through and look different. I bought a spinning book and I've been reading it, and that's been kind of giving me some inspiration. But inspiration. But we'll see. I'm only at home for 3 days. I might do a little bit of spinning, but won't be anything drastic, probably. I do have this little fun thing, which maybe I'll spin this up. I got this when I got as a little sample, I think. I think this was when I got the merino, the blue merino that I spun for my partner's sister. She wanted a wall hanging, so we got this assortment of blues, and I spun it all and we hung it on a stick, and it looks really cool. I'll try and get a picture and show you. That was, I think, a little sample extra gift that I got when I ordered the wool. So maybe I'll spin that in these 3 days. Have a look at that. But to do that, I will have to finish spinning that, what do you call it? Bobbin. I only have one bobbin, and I just unroll it and put it in a ball like that. And then when I wind them together, when I ply them, I just have 2 balls that I put in this, oh, that was a terrible noise. I will cut that out. I have this little thing, which is kind of like a terrarium, but it's open at the bottom, and I just set this on the ground and put the 2 balls inside, and then I ply it in it, and it works great because the balls don't go all over the place. And then it goes back to being a terrarium. Everything on this boat has to be useful for at least 2 things if it's not horrendously beautiful, because there is no space. Speaking of no space, I really should. Well, this is the one time I feel like I should have bought yarn, because it was for when Knitting for Olive did the donation to Afghanistan, and I was like, oh my god, I can donate to charity and get wool. I mean, come on, guys. So this is my acquisition. It was waiting for me when I got home. I was very, very excited. I had to tell my partner, though, because it got there, like, you know, well before I came home. I was like, so there's gonna be a package for me. It will contain yarn. Please don't throw it in the river. She would never do that. She's too much of an enabler. She's like, do you need more yarn for this? And I'm like, she's not like that anymore, I don't think, though. So here's my amazing Knitting for Olive package. I'm gonna have to say what happened here, guys. Girls. I'm gonna have to say what happened here, girls. I did that thing where you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this for this project. I'm gonna get this for this project. Oh, maybe I want that for this project. Oh, maybe I want that. Oh, but I don't know if I want that or that. Maybe I'll get both. Oh, that's too much money. And then I just got like a tiny amount of a few different things. So not enough to make any project. But maybe it's like a sampler. Sure. I sampled a lot of their stuff. I've never actually bought any knitting for Olive for myself. I bought some for my sister and she loved it. I got her some merino and then some matching mohair. But I just love the company so much, and I was so excited when they were donating things, donating their sales to the UNICEF. So I bought so much stuff. And I kind of need to like make sure to buy some stuff again just to thank them, because they didn't get any of that money that I bought this stuff from. But maybe, so that's what I did. I bought a sampler because I wanted to donate to a charity. And now, because I'm so grateful to the company and I've sampled all of their products, I can now then give them some money that they will then keep. That's what I did. Very thought through, very, very, very thoughtful way of doing things, Naomi. So I sampled some of their compatible cashmere. It's amazing. I got 4 colors. I was considering marling it. I'm kind of obsessed with marling at the moment. You can't tell because I haven't done any marling, but I just like keep thinking about it. I got these 4 colors. They're so beautiful. And this is, so this is the navy blue. So this is 187 meters for 25 grams. So it's definitely lace weight. That's coming through slightly like more vibrant than it is. It's a little bit more muted in real life. But this is the navy blue. Then there is this one, which is Dusty Dove Blue. Oh, I love this color. Here it is next to the navy. Sorry. Here it is next to the navy. And then this one is Slate Gray. Knitting for Olive, compatible cashmere, Slate Gray. It's so lovely. It's so soft and fantastic. And then this is the powder. So there they are. I think that's a pretty good, yeah, it's pretty good. Essentially, I've got absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with this, but it will be something phenomenal. Something fabulous. It's really, really soft and lovely. I kind of almost want like a really nice hat with this. Like a beautiful colorwork hat. Then I did get something for a project. I got some silk for my best friend. She asked for I said I wanted to make her something, and she said she liked my drawstring camisole. So I thought I would get some silk to make her the drawstring camisole. So I got this pure silk, 100% Brunette silk, Okotex standard. It's 250 meters, and this is the copper color. It's a really nice color. I think in the website it possibly looked a little darker than it does in real life. I'm not upset about that. I think this is a beautiful color. So I got that for her. And then I got jealous and I got some for myself. Because I was like, oh, I really love silk. I want some silk. So I got myself the rhubarb juice colorway. And I mean, that's just beautiful. Gorgeous. I think it's coming out a little bit cooler than it is in real life. It's a little bit warmer. That's a little better. Here it is next to the copper. Yeah, there we go. That's it. That's kind of what it looks like. So, oh, it's really, really nice. It's really nice. I think it would make a nice summer knit for sure. A nice cami. Then, I don't even know what was happening here, folks. No idea. I know lots of things were happening. Like, it wasn't just me, like, not thinking and being like, beep, 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 beep. Lots of thoughts were being had. There were many tabs open, both on my computer and in my mind when this was purchased. But I cannot for the life of me recall any of them, and I think in the end I just got overloaded, and I was like, also, you know, it was a different time zone, so like midnight happened at like 2 and I was at work and I was like, I just need to make some purchase, like whatever it is, because I want to donate some money. So stuff happened and I don't even know what it was. I got a bunch of cotton merino because I love it. I just think it's a great idea, and I wanted to try to make something with it because I've never made anything with cotton merino blend, I don't think. This is terracotta rose, and folks, I mean, it's obviously my color. It's like my favorite color. It's just beautiful. So I got 2 of these, 250 meters each of these balls. So a gorgeous light fingering here, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna make with it, but oh, it's just lovely. Then I got some more cotton merino. I got soft rose. Oh, that's washed out. Let me put it next to the terracotta rose. There it is. That's true to what it is. So I got some soft rose. I mean, the colors with knitting for olive, I mean, there's nothing more to be desired from them, really. I also got some dark ochre because I really liked it. Doesn't really go with these colors particularly, but it's just a cool color, I think. I almost got that silk for my friend in dark ochre, but then she liked the copper and I kind of liked it better for her too. And then this is rose mousse, this color. To be honest, I think I just wanted to try these colors, just see what they were like. I think I prefer the powder rose to the rose mousse. The powder rose is definitely warmer. It's got more pink in it, and the rose mousse is far more of like a gray, like a grayish that's tinged with a tiny little like forgotten shadow of rose. I think these two go really well together. Maybe these two go together. Do they? I don't know. I don't think so. So that's all their cotton merino, which is 70% organic cotton and 30% merino. So definitely more cottony, but they definitely will have that a bit of that bounce that wool has, which is kind of what you want. I mean, might not be what you want, but that's a thing. It's a thing. You'll get a bit more bounce than you would get in cotton without merino. So then I got this absolute corker of a color. Deep petroleum blue. I mean, come on. How, that's the color. How beautiful is this color? This is in their merino, so no cotton in it. It's got 100% extra fine merino, non-moulist. I don't know what moulising is. I should look that up. Traceable, non-moulist Okotex standard. 250 meters per 50 grams. So this is a solid 750 meters. It's nice. It's really, really nice. It's just really nice. That's what I'm gonna say. It's like, it doesn't feel like superwash. You know, it feels a little bit more like cotton than it does like wool in a funny way. So like, there's none of the slipperiness of superwash on this, but there also isn't very much of the toothiness of like a really rustic wool. So in being neither of those two things, to me it feels almost slightly more cottony. It doesn't feel like cotton, but it feels a lot closer to cotton to me. It's got like the tiniest bit of toothiness. You know what it feels like? It feels a lot like if you buy like a merino base layer, like a merino like t-shirt or something. It feels a lot like that. So I got this, and then I had to try some of their mohair. So I got these 3 colors. How beautiful are these colors? I kind of want to put them all together, to be fair. So this is their 70% mohair, 30% silk, reach standard, 225 meters for 25 grams. This is artichoke purple, and that's showing up pretty true. This is plum rose, obsessed, and this is rose clay. I mean, the amount of rose colors they have is just phenomenal. These colors are phenomenal together. This reminds me of like some of the stuff I see like Pop Knit doing with these like faded colors together in mohair. I kind of want to do something with like that. I wonder if these mohairs would match any of the mohairs I got in Canada. They feel so soft. So soft and just wonderful. I've definitely felt a lot of mohair that's not as soft as this. Okay, so that is, I think that's everything. That's everything I've been working on and everything that I have purchased. I did go to the wonderful Ginger Twist studio and marveled at all of the phenomenal yarn when I was in Edinburgh, which I was there over the weekend. And then I got the flight from Calgary, and then I took the train from London up to Edinburgh, and then came back last night. And then 3 days at home, woo! So I saw her little beautiful shop with all the gorgeous yarn that she dyes. Check out Ginger Twist Studios if you haven't. Didn't buy anything. Well done me. My partner even offered to buy me a skein of beautiful yarn, and I was like, I want to make a plain pair of socks. And then I was like, you know what, I have beautiful yarn. I have the cuff of a sock. I can just make a plain pair of socks the rest of the way home, and I can make a fancy gusset and foot at another time. There's always another pair. So I think that's what's gonna happen. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, pop a little subscribe on or a little like, and I hope to see you again soon, probably from Prague. Bye! See you later!